Civil servant. I am 23 years old and working at a state psychiatric facility. It is a dull Saturday afternoon. I am taking one of my charges to the laundry facility when he looks down at me and asks, "Paul, what would you say if I told you I wanted to leave now?" Now, working for the state brings with it a certain civic responsibility. Serve and protect. And we should appreciate that this responsibility often comes at some personal risk. Here in Chicago, we know that our civil servants don't always live up to this responsibility. That's why I had to admire the actions of a state policeman mentioned in an article in the Chicago Tribune in August of 1973. This public service and his partner were escorting a convicted felon from Chicago to Joliet State Prison. Now, cliches are cliches for a reason, and I am not here to tell lies. En route, they stopped for coffee and donuts. But ever civic-minded, only one officer went in for the coffee and donuts. We'll call him Ponch. That left John to monitor our prisoner. To be on the safe side, they handcuffed John to the prisoner. Let's call him Benny, because that was his name. So all's good, right? Well, no. No sooner does Ponch enter the coffee shop than Benny politely asks John to remove the handcuffs. John declines. That is so admirable. Undeterred, Benny exits the vehicle and proceeds running down the road, with Officer John in tow. As the article tells it, after about a quarter mile of this, John agrees that their paths do indeed need to part. He handcuffs Benny, who disappears. The article went on to relate the M.O. that got Benny arrested in the first place. Dressed smartly in a suit and bearing luggage, he hailed cabs at fancy downtown hotels and jovially engaged the driver en route to that destination. Upon arrival, the driver graciously assisted Benny with his suitcases into the vestibule of a building, at which time Benny politely requested the driver's money and then drove off in the cab. Why do I tell you this? Well, as I said, I was an employee of the state with a similar civic responsibility. In fact, I had a similar encounter with Benny about a month before his dalliance with Ponch and John. I had been working as a psychiatric specialist, a glorified nurse's aide, at the Illinois State Psychiatric Institute for about a year when Benny arrived for an evaluation. The unit was established to allow for more extensive evaluations of felons from Cook County Jail on questions of fitness to stand trial and need for psychiatric treatment, basically crazy or sane. The unit was home to some of the most interesting individuals from the jail: the Grant Park rapist murderer of 5 women, a gentleman who threw his mother out of a 3rd-floor window and beat her one-legged boyfriend to death with his own crutch because they were too inquisitive, a strung-out Vietnam vet who cruised Inglewood with the certain knowledge that the devil was stalking him. The solution? Instruct people to take off their shoes. No? Cloven hooves. If you refuse, you must be the devil. Well, that just stands to reason. The solution? You get shot. He exorcised 4 devils in one night before other civil servants intervened. But Benny was not crazy, and he was also not intimidated in this august gathering. That Tribune article added that if Benny's winsome personality and muscled 6'4", 240-pound frame didn't assure compliance from the cab drivers, he also carried a knife. While at ISB, Benny sometimes engaged in a group pastime known as the Walking 60. No? 60 push-ups at this end of the hall, walk to the other end for 59, return to the start for 58, etc., etc. 1,800 push-ups in an afternoon. No one ever finished before him. So my encounter. On this Saturday afternoon, I am escorting Benny to do his laundry. The unit is secured with 2 locked doors separated by a hallway. In a room off the hallway is the laundry facility. I unlock the inner door and we step into the hallway. I lock the inner door behind us as we start towards the laundry room. One locked door between us and the elevators. Benny looks down at me with his winsome smile and says, "Paul, what would you say if I told you I wanted to leave now?" Ever aware of my civic responsibilities, I look up at Benny and I say in my most civically responsible voice, "Benny, if you told me you wanted to leave now, I'd be forced to ask you, do you want me to unlock the door for you, or do you just want to kick it down yourself?" "Why, do you want to leave now?" Benny smiles and answers, "No, I was just wondering." And people of the state of Illinois, no need to thank me, just doing my job.